The boy proudly announced to the girl that he really became a man last night. The girl couldn't hold back to say FXXXK.
Fuck.
Alex knocked on the girl's door before the graduation party with a bow tie. He flirted with the mirror and said,
"For a minute there, I thought you might be in love with me or something."
He looks a little nervous, even though he's flirting. Rosie laughs and tells him to stop being so self-absorbed. Then she turns to the mirror and squeezes her breasts. She asked Alex which dress she would look good in. Alex turns around and looks at them and gulps silently. But tonight they weren't each other's dance partners. Rosie and Alex grew up together, but their relationship was only good friends. Rosie got drunk on her 18th birthday. The next day, she woke up complaining about how awful everything was last night. But she didn't notice Alex's frowning expression. Later, Alex tells Rosie that he has a crush on someone. Rosie taught him how to woo girls as if nothing had happened. When Alex got up to ask the other girls to be his date, Rosie just looks at him quietly and looks a little lonely. They both had a crush on each other and they don't even know it yet. They have their own partners at the dance, but they can't help but look at each other. Rosie is jealous of Alex's girlfriend, on impulse. She sleeps with her partner all night. Alex sits quietly on the dance floor, his eyes full of sadness. He asks Rosie on his way home if she wants to leave the town. As he applied to Harvard, he also helped Rosie research her favorite major, hotel operations at Boston University. Rosie readily agreed and began applying to schools. Her mother didn't think she was independent enough. Her father supported her to return to the town and open a hotel in the future. Rosie was successful in her application, but that's when Rosie finds out she's pregnant because she didn't take safety precautions on the day of her graduation party. It was all so sudden. Rosie wanted to see Alex, but at that moment, Alex was with his girlfriend. The sun was setting in the room and shining on Rosie's tearful face. Alex was successful in his application to Harvard. He went to tell Rosie the news as soon as he received the offer. Rosie wished him well with red eyes. She didn't say that she had also passed the college application. She just quietly saw Alex off. They hugged each other at the airport and were very sad to leave each other. Alex kept thinking that he would see Rosie in Boston soon. Rosie chose to have the girl because her parents were both Catholic. She wanted to give her daughter to someone else to raise. But the night she gave birth, the doctor asked if she wanted to hold the baby. Once Rosie held her daughter, she never let her go. She promised to be the best mom she could be. But Rosie still feels frustrated sometimes, like when she has to tuck the baby in the middle of the night. She complained to her father that her life was being ruined. But her father said, "We'll talk about that when you're a grandmother." The father takes his daughter and granddaughter into his arms. Rosie quickly adjusted to being a single mom. Soon after, Alex finds out about this and rushes back. Rosie felt awkward meeting him again. She quickly put all of her daughter's things away and took Alex into the kitchen. But Alex came forward with the story anyway. He felt more compassion for Rosie and her daughter than embarrassment. He even offered to be the child's godfather. In that evening, they snuggled on the beach. But at this moment, nothing's changed except us. Rosie didn't want to tell Alex about it, so that Alex would still think of her as the old Rosie. A few days later, Alex left again. One went away to study and the other stayed home to take care of the kids. Their paths became parallel from then on. It's the girl's first day to school. She picks up her school bag and rushes excitedly to her mother's room, only to see a scene that is incredibly embarrassing. The mother explained that this would prevent the bed from being stolen. The girl smiles in confusion and asks if this man is her father. Now Rosie was even more embarrassed. The most embarrassing thing for Rosie was that her keys were missing. She finally had to leave the house with a bedside table. Rosie's daughter was 5 years old and she started working in a hotel. And Alex, who was far away, had a new girlfriend. But over the years, Alex would often talk to Rosie by video and send her gifts from time to time. Alex never missed the growth of her children. Their relationship was so good that Alex's girlfriend was jealous. She sometimes told Alex to go see Rosie deliberately. Finally, one day Alex couldn't resist texting Rosie and asking her to come visit him. Rosie also misses Alex very much, so she packed her bags and headed to Boston. Alex greeted her at the airport with a bouquet of sunflowers. They roamed the streets of Boston. Alex takes a picture of Rosie. Everything that was happening now was just as beautiful as they had imagined. Rosie sat her day on the lawn and moved closer to Alex and almost kissed him on the lips. But after Rosie came to her senses, she looked at Alex and felt lost. When she got home, she learned that Alex hadn't broken up with his girlfriend and that his girlfriend Sally was pregnant. Sally didn't expect Alex to bring Rosie home either. Sally was so jealous when she saw Alex and Rosie at the dinner table that she lifted the tablecloth. This made Rosie very embarrassed. What was even more embarrassing for her was that, after they finished eating, Alex's girlfriend took them to a cocktail party. Rosie watched Alex socialize with other people all the time. She found this Alex strange and turned to leave. But Alex thought Rosie was feeling inferior because she didn't feed in with the elite. He thought Rosie was jealous that he had such a good and happy life. The two of them had a bad breakup. Rosie came home and dug up her daughter's drawings when she thought Alex had broken up with his girlfriend. So she was going to send the painting to Alex as a confession. Now she sends it to Alex to apologize. But by mistake, she sent it to her daughter's real father, Greg. Greg came back to England to ask Rosie to get back together. He got down on his knees in front of Rosie in front of everyone. Rosie gave him a chance to learn how to be a father. With Greg by her side, the days of raising Rosie's daughter were no longer difficult. Greg's subs also made Rosie's heart feel good again and lose her mind. Soon after, Greg and Rosie got married. Their wedding invitation was delivered to Alex across the ocean. But instead of going to Rosie's wedding, he broke up with his girlfriend on that day because his girlfriend had fallen out of love with him and her baby's father was not Alex. Rosie consoled him when she found out about it. The two of them are back in touch again. The woman found out her husband was cheating on her with another woman and came right up to him and slapped him hard. 5 years later, while Rosie's parents were on a trip, her father died in an accident. She stood in front of the tombstone and saw a card from Alex. Not only that, Alex himself came back to pay his respects to her father. Rosie no longer had to pretend to be strong in his presence. She regretted not even having the chance to say goodbye to her father. That's when her husband, Greg, came up to Rosie and pulled her away. Greg was smiling happily, unlike the two of them who were grieving, because Greg had just finished flirting with another woman. Alex Mimi noticed the incident. He wrote a letter to Rosie on the way back and frankly advised her that Greg was not a good husband. But Greg got his letter first and hid it. Rosie only got the letter her father had sent before he died. In the letter, her father wrote that she should follow her dreams. He knew Rosie always wanted to open her own hotel. Rosie's dream of opening a hotel was supported by her daughter. The rest of the day went by quietly until Rosie found out that Greg was cheating on her, and then she rushed to the hotel and slapped him hard. Rosie was packing Greg's things when she noticed that one of Greg's drawers was locked. When she broke the lock, she saw a letter from Alex. His letter began with a message advising her to watch out for Greg as a man. His letter ends with a declaration of love for her. Rosie went to her computer like crazy to contact Alex, but there was a woman on the other end of the video call. Because she didn't write back to Alex in time, they missed each other again. Not only that, but Alex said he was getting married and asked her to be his bridesmaid. Rosie was very upset and felt that it was her fate, but she's still not happy about it. After all, they were both in love with each other, so she decides to show her love to Alex before his wedding. But her plane was late. By the time Rosie rushed to the wedding, Alex and his wife had already made their vows. She looked away from Alex and forced a smile on her face. Rosie spoke as a bridesmaid at the dinner.
No matter where you are, or what you're doing, or who you're with, I will always love you.
Alex looked at her and didn't know what to say. Luckily, Rosie held her ground and said something else that didn't send this scene into chaos. She watched Alex and his wife dance and was so distraught that she ran behind the door and cried silently. Suddenly, her daughter ran past her in tears. It turned out that her daughter's friend had kissed her during the dance. She felt bad about it and was afraid that it would affect their friendship since they were children. Alex said to her instead,
If you reject him now, he's going to make his life's mission to go out there and meet the most perfect, beautiful girl in the world just to try and get over you.
Rosie looked at Alex with disbelief. At that moment, she finally remembered. Alex had kissed her the night of her 18th birthday, too. But she woke up drunk and complained that the night before had been terrible. It turns out they've been missing each other ever since. This time, she finally made up her mind to say goodbye to Alex and to the past. Alex looks at her back and gulps unconsciously and his eyes fill with sadness. A few years later, Rosie's hotel opened, her daughter playing happily with her friends on the lawn. Rosie watched them in awe. That's when the first guest arrives at the hotel. Rosie turned her head and saw the familiar face of Alex. He said he wanted to book a room. Rosie asked him with red eyes if he had any luggage. He left everything behind and came back here with only himself. Rosie understood that he was divorced. They've been going around and around for so many years, and they're finally back with each other. This time they won't miss it again. This is the end of the story. Is there a friendship between a man and a woman? I think there is, but not like this. They love each other in the name of friends. They love each other so much that they don't have the courage to lose each other and keep missing each other. But true love is not lost. That kind of love is more real than friends, which makes people feel more happy.